part 2 of our Worlds recap. We're going to go through the rest of the men's weight classes, starting with the 85 kilo session. So overall, I felt like this was a pretty exciting session. I think generally going into it, everyone thought that Rostami was definitely going to take it. The winner of this session was actually Arle Mendez. He's from Chile, originally from Cuba actually, and he totaled 378.
One of the things with the country bans is I think it affected the lightweight class a lot more. So
oh yeah, for sure.
I feel like with the 69s and 77s, even though some of the guys that typically place in the top 3 internationally weren't there.
Like China?
Exactly. But there's still a lot of hype because of the strong American lifters coming in there. But then now, since the Iran team builded pretty much a full men's team, a lot of their top caliber lifters are starting to compete in these heavier sessions. So I feel like this is the first one where people are coming in and thinking that world records might actually be challenged.
Yeah, totally. So we found out a couple days before the 85 kilo session that Rostami might have been hurt. So when he got there and he was training in the training hall, he was missing like 160 kilo snatches, which is obviously supposed to be a really easy weight for him, because I think the best he's done in, I guess, international comp is 179.
Yeah, I believe that's right. It's kind of funny because even in our preview video we talked about how there's a lot of difficulty getting the visa for the Iran team, and especially Rostami. And even leading up, like the few days before, there is kind of conflicting reports as whether or not he got a visa or not. But then the first day we got there, I remember there was a random fan that was running around saying, "I saw Rostami!"
Oh, I don't remember that. That's funny though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so going into the snatch session, we saw Arle open up a lot lighter. I think he took something in the low 160s and then 170 and then 175, whereas Rostami came out pretty aggressively. He ended up finishing with 174, and then Arle obviously won the snatch with 175. So if you watch the sessions, you would have noticed that he had some kin tape around his knee. We're not sure if it was a quad injury or a knee injury, but yeah, we heard that he was actually injured.
Obviously that was a bit disappointing because he was one of the big favorites and definitely a fan favorite too.
Yeah, absolutely.
With the heavier openers and inconsistent attempts, that's not really something new from Rostami. He's kind of hit or miss.
Sure.
But then again, this might just be the first time since it was on American soil that we actually got word of injuries coming into the meet. So I guess you never truly know how what kind of shape someone's in. So that might be a factor too.
But I would say that I didn't expect him to bomb out. Did you?
I mean, he's a split jerker, so you think that he'd at least make one.
True. But I think he missed the clean actually, so, well, whatever. Anyways, yeah, so he opened up really aggressively in the clean and jerk. So he opened with 212. He ended up missing, I guess, his first 2 attempts at 212, and he ended up moving up to 215. Whereas Arle was a little bit more strategic, and he opened pretty conservatively, and it opened at 203.
The clean was the most ridiculously easy clean that I think we've seen all weekend. Like,
yeah, that was one of the better cleans. But some people on Reddit are calling him the Cuban, or the Chilean Tantao. That is not true. Tantao would power 203. Anyways, irrelevant.
Yeah. Only one king of cleaners.
That's clean.
That's clean? Whatever.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, so after he hit his opener of 203, Rostami tried to take 212 twice. What Arle did next is just pushed him a little bit higher, because Arle was like, after the snatch he was already ahead, so he took 214. He missed 214, forced Rostami to take 215, and then Arle did attempt a world record with 221, I believe.
Yeah. And
he makes the clean pretty easily still. Not Tantao level, but misses the jerk.
Honestly, on the 214, it looked like the jerk could have been there, and maybe mental error, and also it was a pretty big jump up from 203, so that might have been a factor. So I think the end result of his final clean jerk being 203 is not truly reflective of how good of a lifter he is.
Yeah, true. But I guess if you compare this to 2015 Worlds, you'll see quite a discrepancy. So At 2015 Worlds, Artem Akulov won with 391, and the winning total this time was 378. So that's quite a margin if you think about it. And if you compare, once again, if you compare the third place person at 2015 Worlds, which was Abdi, he did total 380, which was also above what Arle did at this year's Worlds.
True, but if you look at the numbers, the snatches are pretty comparable, and then the clean and jerks is kind of what made the difference, I think, between these 2 years.
Yeah.
And I wonder that if Rostami was actually successful in one of his clean and jerks at 212 or 214, then Arle would have taken his third attempt again at something a little bit lower than 221, and then made it, because he would have to make it to win. I think it might have been a different scenario.
Yeah, true. It would have, if Rostami did make one clean and jerk, it would have been a lot more interesting, because then it would have actually had to, it would have forced Arle to actually to make lifts to win, instead of just making his opener and forcing Rostami to go heavier.
Yeah, but I mean, really good strategic play by
absolutely, and
the Chilean team.
maybe that was something that the Iranian coaches should have considered if Rostami's knee or whatever was actually bombed, right? So, okay. So the next session is the 94 kilogram class. So it was this session was actually really fun to watch. We were sitting with the Iranian crowd and with Ehab for a little bit. Yeah. Even though Moradi dominated the competition, he beat Mr. Clean by almost 30 kilos, which was the second place guy. What were your takeaways from this session?
I guess overall, this is the first world record that we saw that was broken. So that was
first senior world record.
Sure.
Yeah.
They really got everyone excited. And again, kind of like the 85s where everyone knew that there was a potential to be in world record territory. With Moradi, he's just been seems like he's been in phenomenal shape the last few competition years.
Yeah.
Shape, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those two scenarios that we mentioned in the preview, that if he was already gonna win with his opener or second attempts, that he would probably just go for a world record, because there's nothing to lose anyways, and that was the circumstances. And great performance. Went 5-5.
Yeah.
And broke the world record of 232.5. That was a really old record. Can't believe no one broke it for so long.
It's funny because at one point, 234 was actually on the bar going into his third attempt, but after he called 234, as he was getting chalked up and stuff, they moved the attempt back down to 233.
Yeah.
So it was actually really cool that he was gonna take 234 because it would have been the real world record, but whatever.
But then he remembered.
Yeah.
No cheaters.
Yeah, so I think the first day that you and I got there, we actually met Moradi. He was a really cool guy, actually. So both of us got a picture with him, and when we were talking to him, we were like, oh, well, you number one, or are you going to break any world records? And he was actually like super nonchalant about it. He was like, meh.
Yeah.
Meh.
But to be fair, it looked like he was looking for something.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true. He was looking for something. Actually, at another time, he was looking for the bus, and he asked me if I knew where it was, and I had no idea.
His physique is very interesting because he had muscular arms and like
huge calves.
He's like kind of vascular and had actually some lean arms, and his calves were, it didn't even make sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, lots of central body fat.
It means he has high testosterone.
Android distribution.
True. So another lifter that had a really great performance that actually didn't finish in the top 3 in the total was Meso Hassona. So he didn't really snatch that great. He snatched 163, but he had a huge clean and jerk, and he finished silver in the clean and jerk. So he clean and jerked 220, which was, I think, a PR for him. And when we were sitting with Ehab, he actually told us that he used to train with Meso in Egypt, which was, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And that Meso went to Qatar for money, which is pretty cool.
I mean, that's pretty cool that they have those opportunities to be recruited and paid as weightlifters.
Yeah.
Even if you're going to lift for another country. And looking at Meso's Instagram, like, it seems like he's compensated pretty well and he has a good life, so good for him.
Yeah, true. Oh yeah, so we actually saw Meso on the first day too. This guy is a really, really humble guy. You can...
It was kind of funny because it was the first day and we hadn't actually bumped into too many lifters, and he was probably the first recognizable guy that we saw. And so we went over to talk to him. He was just kind of loitering. After we got a photo with him, he told us that he was actually lifting in a weightlifting competition that weekend, and he invited us to come and watch him. And he forgot which day it was, but we reminded him.
Yeah, it's like, you know, without that invite, we wouldn't have watched that session anyways.
Yeah,
so.
Good thing he told us to come.
Yeah, so personable. So the day after the 94 kilo session, and Nathan Dameron from USA and Bodhi Santavi from Canada were having a jerk off at the Aleco booth. So I think they were jerking like somewhere in the ballpark of 200, and Meso walks by and he's in his jeans and just like in his casual clothes, and he throws 215 on there and jerks it no problem. So that was pretty insane.
Yeah, I don't know how that even works.
Yeah,
he was still warmed up from the day before. Speaking of Bodhi, so he competed in the B session and he actually won it with a 165 snatch and 201 clean and jerk, and that total was good enough for 6th place overall. So considering that he's still a junior and he hasn't even fully filled out in the 94s, I think he would in the 91 or 92-ish.
Yeah, he was really light.
But I think that was an excellent performance for him.
Yeah, for sure. So that 201 clean and jerk, I think that's like a senior record in Canada, but I know for sure that it's a junior Commonwealth record. Next big meet that he's training for is the Commonwealth Games, which is in March. And yeah, I think that he'll put up a huge total and he's going to be a contender to win.
Definitely.
Okay, so the next session we're going to talk about is the 105 kilo class. So with the country band, this weight class was pretty light.
Yeah.
We didn't see anyone that I guess was capable or close to setting world records, but it was still fun to watch because obviously all these guys are pretty strong.
Yeah, but I mean, the winner of the class from Iran, Ali Hashimi, his total was 404, which is 13 kilos below the winning total at 94s. So I think that says a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as far as the country ban goes, interestingly, Uzbekistan was not one of the countries that was banned, and the reigning Olympic champion, Nurudinov, is from Uzbekistan, but he elected not to compete at this year's Worlds, but was still there.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the days that I decided not to go watch weightlifting, me and my wife went into Los Angeles and happened to bump into Nurudinov in Hollywood. Gotta be honest, it looks like there's a reason why he's not competing this year. It was tough to actually recognize him. I saw the back of Nurudinov's head, and that's what made me realize it was him. So
the only recognizable part of him is the back of his head.
First I saw his shoulder hair. But yeah, he looks like he's definitely more than 105 right now.
Yeah. So the person that won this session was an Iranian lifter, but interestingly enough, like, so with the 85 session and the 94 session, there was a huge Iranian presence in the crowd. But in this session, like, and this was a Monday, so I totally thought that everyone went home on the weekend just because like nobody was cheering for this guy. But that was actually not the case as we go into the supers. So this session was obviously really exciting. There was another, or I guess 2 more world records broken. But the exciting thing about this session is just that the country band didn't have, I guess, a huge effect on who would finish first, second, or third, in my opinion at least.
Yeah, because regardless of the country ban, the other top contenders from other countries are just banned as individuals, I suppose. So
yeah, well, like Lovchev is already banned as an individual. Once again, watching this session is just exciting in general, just because, you know, all these guys are snatching more than your back squat. So that's like,
you told
country. No, me too. I'm just saying. Yeah, it's just like snatching more than our back squats. Sorry. Which is pretty crazy. This was definitely a hyped up session going into it. like I said, I thought the Iranian crowd went home, but their presence was definitely felt.
Yep.
Yeah, and actually this was the only session where there was like kind of security. There was extra security there, which was also weird to me.
I mean, I guess after the 2016 Olympics fiasco, it might have been preemptive.
Yeah, well, I guess I was smart, but there's only like 3 extra dudes.
Well, maybe the jury already decided. So there was a couple interesting things, even just in the snatch competition. So Iran, obviously, who we thought was the #1 lifter, was Salimi, and we know he's good for a big snatch. And then Saeed Ali Hosseini, who just came off of a ban that was changed from lifetime ban to 8-year ban.
Oh, when did they change that?
I think the policy on positive drug results in the past, the rules was that after a certain number of positive tests that you would have a lifetime ban.
Okay.
But that was later revised to an 8-year ban. And so when that rule change was made, Ali Husseini appealed and was able to change that retroactively to an 8-year ban, making him eligible for...
Okay. Yeah, like I actually haven't heard of him that much. Like I haven't been into weightlifting that long, but like I knew that he had all 3 junior world records. So going into the snatch, he missed his first 2 attempts at 203, which was his opener, and he ended up snatching 203 on his last attempt.
And it looked pretty easy, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe it was just like a timing thing. I don't know.
Yeah, and it was his first competition in a long time
that
we know of, shaking out the cobwebs a bit, because after that, his lifts started to look a lot better, in my opinion.
True. But Dad ended up snatching 211. So I think that was his second attempt, actually, and I'm not exactly sure what his first attempt was. I think it was 205.
Yeah.
But after he snatched 211 and Lasha hit his opener at 210, Lasha went to 214 with his second attempt, smoked it, obviously, and Salimi tried to do 215. So as soon as he missed 215, Lasha jumped up, and we thought that he was going to jump to 218 because his current world record, which was done at the Euros earlier last year, was 217. But turns out this guy hates money, so he just decided to go to 220.
Yeah.
And this was really exciting, actually, because I don't think anyone was really expecting him to take 220.
Yeah. After seeing him hit 220 at Georgia Nationals, that was maybe the heaviest documented snatch in any competition.
Yeah, that's even heavier than like the old school days, right? When like it was 110 plus.
Yeah, so I mean, before Lasha, no one had snatched 216 at an IWF meet.
Okay, I didn't
So
know that.
217 already was an all-time world record snatch, and yeah, I don't think anyone expected him to jump all the way up to 220 for the world record, even though we knew he could do it.
Yeah, he hates money though, so
Yeah.
whatever.
Because, yeah, logically you would think that you would take whatever you need to win, or increase the world record by 1 kilo.
Yeah,
But-
like what most people do.
Exactly. But, yeah, that was an incredible thing to watch.
So going into the clean and jerk now. So Salimi ended up taking 241 first. So he clean and jerks it, but unfortunately, he gets called for a press out. And it was interesting because all 3 judges gave him white lights, and then the jury called it back and said it was a no lift. He takes 242 on his second attempt, makes it, which is great, good for him. Ali Hassini ends up clean and jerking 251, which combined with the snatch would give him a 454. And then Salimi takes his last attempt at 252. Once again, he gets the white lights from the judges, but the jury gave him no lift.
So basically, Lasha and the clean and jerk went 3 for 3, finishing with a 257, and that set a new total record at 477. And with his last clean and jerk in classic Iran versus Georgian style, he succeeded, even though he was lifting with the background noise of, it was crazy loud with all the Iranian fans like jeering and booing.
Yeah, basically every attempt after the 252 that Salimi pressed out, Yeah, the Iranian fans were going nuts. So there are at least a couple lifters that had to go. Like I think one guy from Czech, Marcin, went, and then obviously Lasha.
Yeah. So I think that's really unfortunate, but obviously it doesn't seem to affect Lasha negatively. So that was basically, it was, I guess you have to call that a historic performance.
Oh, for sure. Well, he won 6 for 6, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy, and 2 world records.
And all-time total record as well.
True.
And those clean and jerks, like, it didn't really look like a huge struggle for him.
Yeah, it's true. So I think he's good for more. Leading up to Worlds, we heard that Lasha did 230 from the blocks. I'm curious what he clean and jerked leading up to Worlds.
Yeah. Also, we heard that he had snatched 210 for a double in training.
True.
Yeah, but I mean, these are just crazy numbers.
Also heard that Salimi did 225 snatch from the floor, and we heard that he did 265, but obviously it didn't really translate over to the competition.
Yeah. And this is the first time that either of us have met Behdad. We bumped into him just around the venue a few days prior to this, and he seems like a really easygoing, laid-back kind of guy, and definitely had a sense of humor.
Yeah.
When we were asking to get pictures of him, I mean, you literally had to look up to see his face, and then right before I got my picture with him, he went onto it tiptoes to get even taller.
Yeah.
And we both kind of had a bit of a laugh about that.
Yeah, and another thing with like, he's pretty lighthearted because even after his 252 got called as a no lift, he didn't seem actually too upset about it. He's still giving people the thumbs up and stuff like that. So, and yeah, one other thing about Lasha is he's really tight with his brother, and we have a bonus video.
Yeah, we saw Lasha quite often. He pretty much came out to every session where there is a Georgian lifter.
Yeah, true. He was supporting all his teammates, so that's awesome.
And they seem really close.
Yeah, and actually, you know what's weird? He's the only one that does all the, like signs. Like, I feel like the other Georgian lifters didn't really do that. So that concludes our recap for Worlds. So thank you for watching. If there's anyone that you thought that we should have talked about a little bit more, please comment below.
Yeah, or if there's anything else that you guys had questions about from Worlds that we might be able to answer, just leave a comment below, and in one of our next videos we can try to answer that. And in our next video, which will come out sometime next week, Larry and I will go over the Q&A that we had with Tashiki. So we sat with him during an entire session, asked him a bunch of questions. We asked him some weightlifting related questions, some personal life questions. So hopefully that'll be interesting to you guys. So thanks for watching.